This is my SPED 510 project on evidence-based practice in the writing classroom. So the setting and context where I did my observations, I am a teacher at Cuba Rushford Elementary School, and there I'm the 5th grade special education teacher. I teach a 15-1 math, 15-1 ELA, and 15-1 reading, but I also consult and teach in writing, and that means I go into the writing classroom 2 days a week for 40 minutes, and I just help out my students and, any students that have needs in the class. Cuba Rushford uses a step up to writing, and they use the RACES strategy. And so we see a graphic here on the right. RACES is restating the question, answering the question, citing the source, and explaining. And this is the writing process that I'm going to be referring to throughout the rest of the slides. But this is what students are expected to do. This is what they know to do. And these two, all 4 components are really, really important. But this cite the source and explain, this is what we're going to be focusing on today. So my student background and needs. So for the purposes of this assignment, my student is named Brad. It's a pseudonym. So historically, Brad has needs in developing the E or elaborating in his writing. And so my literature review revealed that intervention might not need to be singularly focused on elaborating, which is different than what I thought. And the literature pointed out that there may be a possibility that Brad might require knowledge from the individual components of the writing process. So he might need to know, the whole writing process over again, like the R, the A, the C, the E. That could be his not knowing the restate might affect his explanation. So the instructional interventions was that as race is being retaught each year, which it is, it just needs to be retaught each year. I think sometimes, especially in the older grades, teachers forget that, they already know this, let's just jump right into it. No, it needs to be retaught every year. It's kind of like spiral curriculum, so maybe you can add on, but it definitely needs to be retaught explicitly, directly, especially for Brad. That would help him out. There needs to be PD or professional development, so that teachers are presenting the material in a similar manner. You want to use the same language, same lingo as the teachers before. This way, students like Brad don't fall through the cracks, they might not be able to make the connection if you use different language other than restate, answer, recite, and elaborate or explain. So that's important. The objective should be stated at the beginning of the lesson so the students understand the knowledge they are expected to be responsible for. So if you're teaching about elaboration, you should say, today I'm going to learn about how to elaborate, or making sure that the student knows what they're supposed to leave the lesson with is really important. Explicitly stating that. This way the student knows, okay, today I learned elaboration, or today I learned how to answer a question. These were basically several articles about elaboration stated this, and it's kind of like you would think you would already know about it, but I think this is often overlooked, and it needs to be addressed before you move into the specific intervention. Now, if these are all addressed and the student still doesn't know how to explain or how to elaborate, then you need to move to specific elaboration. And that's what we see over here. It's an image. It's a specific intervention example. And so basically this was a article, or not an article, this was a worksheet to review elaborating with students, and I found it from the readwritethink.org, and it's based on the International Reading Association. So what it does basically here is it gives you a citation, and then you have to write in the box how to explain. And then it gives you another citation, and you have to explain. Obviously, this would be the independent practice, or even guided practice. Teacher wouldn't just jump right into here, but if the student needed to work on explain, there are several opportunities to do so. So my lesson example is standards. They're from the Next Generation, and they are writing an argument to support claims with clear reasons and relevant evidence. And then the substandard is provide logically ordered reasons that are supported by facts and details from various sources. And the second one down here, that's going to be where your explanation comes from. So I have my objective. Students will match elaboration of logically ordered reasons to the fact. They need to have 7 out of 7 matched correctly, and student will match elaboration to key detail on the inspiration board at the front of the room. A picture will be taken on the iPad to record the results. So for this lesson example, we're going back to the anticipatory set. It would be, I would say to the kids, do you remember elaboration from the other day? Can you draw a picture or write a few words what it's about? So students would do that on the board just to jog their memory. And then you would have them jumping into the lesson. You'd have them explain their drawing or what they wrote about elaboration. Then once they finish, you can go over saying elaboration is adding on to the key detail. It's making sure our writing flows, and then you can even give an example like my room is so messy, and then you can say that would be the citation, and then the elaboration would be my room is so messy because my phone's on the floor, my clothes are all over, and I can't find my car keys. And that would be an appropriate elaboration example for them. And so after you would go through the instruction part, this part, these would be on the board and they'd be scattered. So like key details would be scattered from the elaborations. And what students would have to do is they'd have to match these two up. So it's very interactive. Like they go up to the board and then they would like drag these words over to like the matching key detail. So if you look at the first one here, it's like late for school, elaboration, I slept past my alarm, tripped over my dog, and missed the school bus. So, like, notice how, like, there's supposed to be a lot, like, and at this point you talk about logical elaborations, like, this makes sense. You won't be late for school because my family supports me and helps me study. Like, that doesn't make sense. And so that's where you would talk about, like, making sure they make sense and everything. And so that is it. Thank you for listening. My